Okay, so today is Thursday, September 4th, 2025. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So, there's no real particular reason why I'm doing it in my room aside from the lake. I think it's a combination of, yeah, by the time I got out of bed, the sun was already up, so there's no hope of a lake sunrise. And also, I just haven't done one of these in my room in a while. Oh, excuse me. Also, my cat is literally right here. I think you can see him just a little bit. I want to give him some love. And he's now got my arm in a. He's just grabbing my arm and biting it. So, alright. I'll let him have fun for a while. So, going over the week, I guess we'll start with today. Just the fact that today's kickoff. I get to watch football today. I get to watch meaningful football today because I think I've seen like a little skosh of preseason, but I'm excited. So it's Philly and Dallas. Sorry, I'm just thinking. Well, number one, I'm also a little distracted because Bahamut is still got his fangs in my arm. But I'm also just like, Dallas really traded Michael Parsons before week one. And now, like, all right, they traded him during the off season. They traded him before the draft or like right after the draft. Only like a week or two before week one. That's so. It's just so wild that it happened. It's how late that it happened is what makes it crazy to me. And I've seen Dallas fans go through like all the different stages of grief. I have seen denial, I've seen anger, I've seen bargaining now. We're like, well, he wasn't. Wait, did I say Michael Parsons? I don't know if I pulled a Jerry. It is Micah Parsons. I apologize if I said Michael for any reason. But I've seen them be like, Micah wasn't that great. Like, he's really good, but, in meaningful games, like in the playoffs, I've seen him disappear. He could be a lot better. So, us getting more players for him, it's not a bad thing. Or, oh, like he's got this injury concern. Well, of course that's why we didn't want to pay him. Man, Jerry traded a guy who couldn't perform in the playoffs and was injured for 2 first-rounders and another good player. Dang, Bahamut is going for it. Now, you good, my dude? Can you, stop trying to eat my arm? You know that hurts, right? Anyways, so, okay, I gotta move that out. That actually hurt. No, Bahamut, that's not okay. Dang, there's, a hole in us, not drawing. He hasn't drawn blood, but dang, that hurt. Anyways, he did all that, and now that dude is the most highest paid non QB in the league. Jerry absolutely fleeced Green Bay. Of course, Jerry knows what he's doing. All right, so I've seen denial, I've seen anger, I've seen bargaining, I've seen depression, I've seen a few crash outs. I don't know how many Cowboys fans I've seen just be in acceptance. All right, we traded him. It sucks, but it is what it is. Hope he does well, just as long as it's not against us, kind of thing. But I don't know. Maybe we'll get there eventually. Or you know what? Maybe they'll never have to get there. Maybe Micah Parsons actually doesn't do that well in Green Bay for whatever reason. Do I suspect that? No, but it could definitely happen. But I'm also just like, man, I would hate to be a fan of Dallas sports right now. You have who seems like a generationally great player with Micah Parsons, who's still very young, getting traded to, not in the division at least, but still a rival franchise. That's gotta sting, especially after what happened with Luka. Both of those happening within the same year? That's brutal, man. But like I said, I'm excited for kickoff. I am excited to watch football. Am I excited to watch my team? No. The Saints don't look very exciting right now. We look pretty bad. Would I love to be wrong? Of course. But I guess it's look, I've already hit acceptance. We're not going to be good. I would like to see us at least be competitive. I guess that's kind of the thing. I know we're rebuilding, so I know I should want us to lose. Because if we lose, we get a better draft pick. And with a better draft pick, we can get a potentially better player. Or we can trade back and get more picks. But you never want to see your team lose. So it's one of those, I'm like, I hope we win, but I don't think we will. I don't want to lose, but I know we should. But if we're just kind of mediocre, I don't really know what to think of that either. It's like, so we're competitive, or we're almost competitive, which gives me hope, but we weren't competitive enough to have a realistic shot at anything, but also not bad enough to, like, really, like again, like, get a really good player, or like trade back and get a good haul. So we just kind of kicked the tires in its own way. But I guess even with that, if we show that we're a lot more competitive than people thought we are, maybe that's a good foundation, a good building block, because this is a first-year head coach and a second-year QB and also a rookie QB. So you do want to go ahead and start, like, this is what the new culture of the Saints is going to look like. And if it's maybe not necessarily a winning culture off the bat, but a very strong competitive culture, that might be something to build around. And again, it's something you see a lot, is like a team can be really good one year, really competitive one year, and it doesn't translate to the next year. Like, I remember, what year was it? It was the year the Packers won the Super Bowl. I know it doesn't narrow it down, but like with Aaron Rodgers, where in the last week of the season, the 6th seed was between either the Packers, the Giants, or the Bucks. And the Packers got it. Giants just missed the playoff. Bucks just missed the playoffs. But there was a lot of kind of hype and excitement around the Bucks. Like, I think they won 10 games. Maybe it was 9. They didn't quite get to the 10th. It was like, this is a young team. They've won quite like a lot of games. Maybe they can start being really good. And then I don't think they made the playoffs from that point on until Brady joined. So all of that goodwill and momentum didn't carry over. A few years ago, with Danny Dimes and Saquon on the team, the Giants won a playoff game, and they've been terrible the past few years since. Momentum isn't guaranteed from drive to drive, week to week, or year to year, but it's something that you can hope on. So I don't know. I'm kind of rambling a bit now, so I guess I'll go and move on to the next topic. But yeah, I'm excited for football. Maybe not super excited for Saints football, but they are my team, ride or die. Ride or die, good or terrible, Other things to talk about. So, still reading Ward. I'm in Arc 4. I'm about 3 hours into it. I just finished Rain's interlude, and I've started Vicky's next chapter on the train. I'm still enjoying it. I don't know if I'm going to finish this arc this week. I'm hoping that while I'm watching Eagles-Cowboys, I'm just be like, okay, here's the game, and I'm just like listening to Ward as it's going on. I think that'd be a really fun time. So we'll see how that goes. Oh yeah, that also just means on Sunday I'll just get to watch, because I'm off, I'll just get to watch football all day. That sounds awesome. So, for all I know, I will also be listening to a lot of Ward while I'm doing that. I haven't done a ton of writing this week. I did most of an Isla chapter yesterday. I've done tiny little bits of Orichalcum, and I started tinkering around with a side project, which I'm not really going to go into detail on, but it's something that I had first gotten the idea of like a year or two ago, and just kind of left it on the back burner. And then a few weeks ago, it came back into my mind, and it's like, okay, I'm interested in this. I want to tinker with it a little bit, but I don't know. And then last week, it felt a lot more important. So I played around with it a little bit, did a tiny bit of writing. We'll see how much progress I actually decide to make on it or not. But there might be something else that I'm working on too. I've also been getting, artwork of some stuff. I commissioned a handful of artists to do one of my characters from Severance. just to kind of, number one, like, she's one of my favorite characters I've ever written, so it's nice to get more art of her. But I'm also like, okay, these are some artists that I might want to look into for working on the VN. And just like, okay, I want to see how this character would look in your style. And we'll kind of see, like, maybe there could be a fruitful relationship, or if not, I at least get some cool art of my character. I will take that. So that's going. As for those writing contests that I entered, so one of them I know I'm not moving forward with, but I think I'm supposed to be hearing feedback on my submission relatively soon. And like, they had sent an email just saying, like, okay, here's the long list. You'll get an email shortly to see if you didn't make the long list but made the top 100. And here's kind of some of the criteria we look at when we're judging the submissions. Because it's not that here's the whole book. It's like, here's your opening chapter, more or less, and your synopsis. And it's kind of looking at them like, okay, from what they're going for, I can definitely see why I did not move forward. But it's okay. It is what it is. Like I had also said, I did a lot of tinker. Like, I reworked and retooled my opening chapter based on feedback from another contest, and I do think it's way better. I can't say for sure if it would have been something that helped me move on here. Maybe from the feedback I get from it, I'm like, oh yeah, like almost everything they said is the other version fixes every problem, which would be kind of neat. But we'll see how that goes. There's another one where I don't know if I've moved forward or not. Because the next round, so like the first round is now ended and it's in the quarterfinals. And the way they do it is like, okay, so in every category, the top 10 participants, like with the 10 highest scores, move on to the next round. We're not going to announce, so like I think by their dates, they don't announce the quarterfinalists until the semifinalists have almost been decided. I'm like, okay, looking at the website and all like the scores posted, I'm still in the top 10. So yes, I've moved forward, but you have the option to not display your score. So it's possible there are like enough people with higher scores that I'm not in the top 10 and I haven't progressed. So it's that one's a very weird limbo of maybe not. I'm not sure. I guess I'll find out in like a month or so. So there's that. What does that even say? Okay, so I just get to talk about video games for a bit. So I had some friends who were playing through Metaphor, and they were both like, look, like we were basically both off for a week, and we would just, like, if one of us kind of got tired, the other would start their session. So they blitzed through. I think they beat Metaphor in like 2 weeks. And they put in like 100 hours. They maxed out several of the archetype trees. Like, damn, like you guys went for it. You guys played it. And yeah, they loved it because it's a great game. And I was just really happy, like, watching them play certain parts of the game, being able to discuss certain things in the game with them. Like, absolutely chef's kiss of the game. I finally got my Ding Dang Digimon Survive video done. And I don't want to say, it's like I'm happy with the video. It's like I got to sit down, I got to talk about a game that I genuinely really liked for about an hour. But it's more like it's been bothering me for several weeks that it still wasn't done. And now I'm just like, I feel so much better now that it is done. It is finished. I can move on. But again, like, go play the game. I genuinely really liked it. I have my issues with it. I made an hour-long video talking about the things I liked and I disliked, but overall, yeah, I liked the game quite a bit. So a couple other games I played in the last week. Played a game called Crow Country, which is a retro, I think it's supposed to be spelled like Retraux or something like that, where the idea is it's a modern game, but it has a very retro aesthetic and kind of gameplay vibe to it. But it is a survival horror game in the vein of like old school Resident Evil games. And Clay and I played through the entire thing on Sunday. I'm still working on my notes for it, but I loved it. It's a game where I enjoyed playing it a lot. And there's multiple aspects of the game, both like its gameplay and its narrative, that just kind of had me really thinking for the past few days, just about what I played, about what I experienced, and some of the different ways I've interpreted it. Some of them, like, why did I like this game as much as I did, etc., etc. And I've written about 2/3 of my notes. I'm on the last chunk of it. I'm like, this feels a little. It's weird because on the one hand, I'm like, this is more pages, I think, than my script for Digimon Survive. So this might be really long, but I'm also like, these individual paragraphs aren't super long. So I don't know. Like, it might be that I feel like Crow Country could be anywhere from like a 25 to 30 minute video to, well, guess I'm here for an hour and a half just talking about this shit. But I'm really excited to get it done and to be able to sit and talk about it. And is this the last thing in my video? Okay, this is more or less going to be the last thing. So I guess before I get to that, I'm just going to say I'm taking a week off next week, because I'll be honest, I had a very long, kind of exhausting week last week. And to just be able to say, okay, I'm going to take a week off. I'm not going to go to work. I'm not going to do anything work-related in, like, obviously professional capacity, but also in a personal capacity, because I've been helping some people with some different stuff. I'm like, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to take a week, and I'm going to focus on me. You know, I might, like, treat myself to something nice, which I had a massage, like, a couple weeks ago for my birthday. It's like, I don't know if I want to do that again, but I want to do that again. Like, I don't know. It's like, I'll kind of want to do something. I might just say, I'm going to sit and write. I might just say, I'm going to watch a bunch of shows. I still haven't been watching Victory Gundam. Like, I watched those first 3 episodes, thought it was great, and haven't booted it back up again. I slowly have finished Season 2 of Arcade and, like, Dandadan, because I've watched a good amount of Season 2 of Dandadan. I'm like, yeah, the whole, like, rock concert exorcism. I'm just watching it thinking, this is why I watch this show. This is so insane, and it's absolutely peak. And then you get those moments like with Momo and Okurun in the car, and like when they're in the tunnel, she just like grabs his hand, and it's the sweetest thing I've ever seen. I'm like, this is also why I watch this show. It is precious and adorable, and I want you two to be happy. Also, why is Robert Smith in The Cure here? Because I'm sorry, just like the face paint made me think of Robert Smith. It's Smith, right? I feel pretty dumb if I got his name wrong. But anyways, I'm excited to take a week off and like watch stuff, write, to just like relax. I might even do that instead of a bunch of other shit. Like, I'm just gonna sit and not do anything, and it's gonna be great. But moving into the last thing, I finally got to really play through the Trails in the Sky remake demo. So I played a little bit of it, I think, the previous week. Wasn't able to get around to it for some reasons. But today's Thursday. So Tuesday after work, there was a point where I was like, okay, I'm just going to sit down. I'm going to play this for a while. And by the time I was done, I'd been playing for like 6 hours. And I'm going to be honest, there was a point 2 to 3 hours before I stopped where I thought to myself, this is probably a good stopping point. And like, I should get up and move or like go to the bathroom. But if I stop, it was like, if I stop playing, like if I take a break, I'm just gonna stop for the day. And I kind of don't want to do that, because this is just so nice. This is just so fun. Like, yeah. Clay has asked me before, it's like, what's your comfort game? Like something you play to just relax, to unwind. And he's asked me, it's like, is that Celeste? I'm like, Celeste is not a comfort game. Celeste is when I need catharsis. But I think Pokemon is probably something I play and it's just like comforting. But playing the Skymake, I'm like, this is comfort. This just feels so cozy and nice and pleasant, and then I open a treasure chest and get absolutely rolled and smoked because I'm playing on Nightmare. And like I played Reverie on Nightmare, and for the most part it wasn't that bad. I feel like early game was kind of rough because like, okay, like you don't have a lot of your like broken crafts yet, you don't have your quartz setups the way you want. There's your options are a bit more limited, so the game is a bit more difficult. And then once you get the Reverie corridor, the game's kind of a joke. Kuro 1. I think there were a couple fights that were maybe a little hard. Like, I remember the optional She's in a rematch was difficult, but it was so incredibly fun. Like, it's easily my favorite boss in Kuro 1. But I don't remember the rest of the game, aside from the final boss, being particularly hard. Like, I think I remember saying to myself, I was like, yeah, I could kind of count my deaths on one hand up to the final boss. Because it just, like, I know how to play these games. Like, this isn't that bad. Kuro 2, kind of the same thing. I think the most difficult part of Kuro 2 was the fight with the twins in the intermission. Because I was having trouble killing them at the same time because of just that fight's mechanic. Which was less of, man, this fight is really hard, and more, this is annoying. But then the fight with Elroy and the twins that one's actually hard. But again, it's probably the best fight in the game. Either that or the optional fight with Shizuna during the intermission. Which, again, just the fact that when you go up to fight her, the game literally stops you and says, look, I know you think you're good. I know you think you're like hot shit. And I know you're going to want to do this because you get extra, like, points for and shit. This fight's going to be hard. Like, just save your game, be ready, and if you can't beat her, don't worry about it. Like, the fact the game gives you an active warning is so funny. It's like, yeah, the fight was hard. It was awesome. I loved it. Most of the rest of the game, though, not that hard. Like, I have to try, I have to turn my brain on, but I wasn't like, I feel like there's not a lot of fights in the game where I'm like, man, this is kind of taking everything I got. It's like, no, like, I know what I'm doing. Okay, got a little dicey here. Okay, we got through it. Sky on Nightmare, though, there's been just a lot. Like, there's this one part in the woods, and it's like near the end with that treasure chest, where there's these enemies that... Sorry, I'm just remembering... I was like, they look like these giant pine cones with like these egg sacs, which made me remember the recent circus episode with Jack's talking about his, what's it called, like tyrophobia or something, with the fear of little holes and whatnot. But anyways, there's these giant like pine cone things. They're tanky, do a lot of damage, and if you're too close to them when they die, they explode. So they're a problem. Fighting one of them is doable. Super doable. Fighting one of them with other assortment of enemies, doable, but not advised. But in that area, there's like 4 or 5 of them. And getting through that is honestly really hard. I was like, I basically had to bullshit my way through it, which is, okay, let's do damage in the overworld. Maybe get like do a team attack, like trigger turn-based combat, do a team attack, leave the fight, rinse and repeat. Like doing jank shit like that, which isn't the most fun, but I kind of think it's really fun because, like, I have to be, like, really tactical and clever. And sometimes the most tactical, clever thing you can do is retreat and abuse the game's systems. But, like, that was fun. doing the trap treasure chests in the Jade Tower, that was actually kind of hard because these things are, again, like these monsters are like, they're fast. I think they could cancel arts pretty quickly. They do a lot of damage, pretty tanky. They also exploded if you were too close to them. And they could say, I'm going to call for backup and just summon more monsters. Weaker monsters, but more shit you got to deal with. And just finding ways to circumvent the problems and like mess with my court setups and whatnot, I really enjoy it. By the end of the demo, Estelle has 2 slots left. Joshua has 1. When you get Shara, she only has 1 left. I don't know if that's a thing on Nightmare where like Shara just comes with more slots. I doubt it, but maybe. I don't know. That'd actually be really interesting if it's a thing where, no, like on higher difficulties, your party members will just have more stuff available. Yeah, and I'm actually thinking about that. Like, is that a thing? I don't think so, but it'd be kind of nice. But anyways. Then I got to Josette. So, going into that fight, Estelle's best spell is Stone Impact. I'm like, I already have an A rank spell. I feel like I'm a little too powerful right now. Shara, I think her best is Aerial Storm, which is an S tier spell. I'm like, I feel like I'm a little overpowered right now. And Joshua's best spell is this little thing called Chaos Brand. Which, if you've played FC before, Chaos Brand is possibly the most broken thing in the game. What it do is it... Oh, yeah, sorry, my notebook fell and I got a little startled. So anyways, what Chaos Brand does is it confuses enemies. And it will confuse them for... I don't remember how many turns. So it's like usually for a few turns, and almost any enemy in the game is vulnerable to it. Not all of them, but I think there's maybe like 4 or 5, including bosses, that you can't confuse. Because even bosses can get hit by Chaos Brand. And it's something that doesn't necessarily completely trivialize the game, but it makes it a lot easier. And it's like, okay, I already have Chaos Brand. What do you mean it got buffed? Because now, instead of just confusing, it has a 90% chance to confuse, poison, and debuff stats. And it can do literally all of those at once. Like, okay, this spell is really, really, really good. And it's even better than it was before. Okay. I'm about to kick Josette's ass. I am ready to go. I am raring to go. I got some powerful spells. I got my squad. Let's go. So she can basically one-shot someone whenever she wants. What I think it was called like Stampede, where she just like takes out 2 double-barreled shotguns and will just murder someone. I'm like, oh, that's bad. She also had like 30,000 HP. Like, that's so much. What is this shit? Cause it's Josette and like 3 me and my 3 Droogs. All of them are vulnerable to Chaos Brand, which is so funny to me because when you look at Josette, it's like, okay, so she's immune to Petrify and Death Blow, makes sense. Resist it to basically every other status ailment. Except Confusion. It's like, no, that'll work completely fine on her. But and it's the kind of thing that made me realize, oh, Chaos Brand isn't letting me break the game. It's giving me a fighting chance. So basically what I did was like, all right, like, let me just Chaos Brand everybody. So the enemies will attack each other. They'll take some poison damage. They'll get weakened. Kind of let them do that while I'm using like morale to buff people, using clock up for buffs, and like Shara and Estelle doing casts when they can. And then I was like, all right, it's just us and Josette's also taking some damage. I think we got this. And then she just buffed herself. And I was like, okay, Anticept, fuck you. But then there's a point where she did it again. And the shitty thing is, like, number one, when boss... There's this thing in Cold Steel that really bothers me. And I don't remember if it happened in Kuro. It might have, but it happened here. Because Cold Steel 3 introduced the break gauge, which is essentially like bosses won't take as much damage. I think it's with enemies too. But generally with bosses, they won't take as much damage until you like break them, and then you can wreck their shit. However, there's this really stupid thing where when you get a boss to about half health or so, the boss will have this moment where they'll have a little bit of dialogue, which is kind of like so like, you're tougher than I thought. Maybe I should take this a bit more seriously kind of thing. Or like man, you're stronger than I thought. Oh no. But when they have that little bit of dialogue, their break gauge resets. So if you're close to breaking them, well, it doesn't matter. Or, hey, you just broke them. Well, instead of having your chance to wail on them, no, now they're fine. And that's stupid. Like, that's a really bad mechanic. But, like, I broke Josette, and she immediately did that, and Estelle was about to get a crit with her S-Craft. I'm like, well, that would have been satisfying, but fuck me, I guess. There was a point where Josette buffed herself, which means she immediately got another turn, then just killed I think she killed Shara, who was about to crit with her S-Craft, and then I think she got another turn because she was now so fast and killed Estelle. I'm like, well, that was nice. Like, I was right about to beat her. I was right about to end this. We were ready to go, and then she just said, no, I'm gonna win. And that upset me. It upset me greatly. It made me very, very mad. So mad and so frustrated and so angry that I won the fight anyways. It was just one of those, like, no. Because I will say this. I'm not a Josette fan anyways. Like, I don't hate... I feel like the best way I can describe Josette is I genuinely love to hate Josette. I think she's a brat. I think she's annoying. But I think she's a genuinely fun character. And just how much... Like, she and Estelle are just on site the entire Sky trilogy. And I kind of love that. And so, I love how much I hate Josette. And the fact that her fight was that hard kind of played into that. And so, the fact I'm like, okay, no, I'm not letting you get this win. I am going to be spiteful. I am going to be stubborn. As Estelle says at one point in the game, let's get this road on the show. So just being able to clutch out a win felt really, really good. So I was telling Clay afterwards, I was like, dude, that fight was really hard. I was not expecting how tough that was going to be. I am now really hyped and really dreading the rest of Sky Nightmare mode. Like, dude, I played SC on hard, which is the equivalent of playing the first game on Nightmare. I'm like, oh, man, am I really going to do that to myself again? Yeah, I will. Louvet's gonna be so hard. Like, it's just gonna be dumb. But I'm so excited to hear Silver Will. Like, oh man, a new arrangement of Silver Will. And so the way the soundtrack works, there's original, customized, and modern, like, for the way the song plays. So what I thought that meant was like, okay, like, here's the modern version, here's the original version, and then here's, like, customized means you can almost, like, go track by track and say, all right, when I'm in Roland, I want the original song, but when it's, like, the way they walk in Liberl, I want the new one kind of thing. No, it sounds like the modern is, like, it's a new version. The original, I'm a little unsure. I don't think it's quite the same. Rip, like, maybe it is, but it sounds like it's more in that style, but it's still a little different. And then customize is almost like kind of more of a blend of the two rather than choosing, like, specifically which versions of the songs you want to play. I'm like, that's actually like kind of really neat and cool. I like that. And I'm like, man, I am excited to hear, like, all the versions of Silver Will from this game. But Another yawn. That's today. That's this week. Looking forward to the end of the week. Looking forward to watching football. Looking forward to having next week off. Hope hope we all have a good month. That's so weird to think about. It's like, yeah, wait, did I say September 4th earlier? No, that's right. Sorry, because I was looking at my calendar yesterday and it was September 3rd and I was thinking about that. But yeah, it's now tomorrow from yesterday, so it is September 4th. Anyways, take care. If you play Silk Song, hope you enjoy it. Um, Sorry, I wasn't sure what else I was going to say because I don't think I have anything to say. See you. Take care.